Hello, everybody. Adam
Hey.
here.
Brady.
Thanks for joining us. Hopefully, the audio is okay. We've had issues before with this mic, moving things around so we can get a better view of the content we're going to do today. So, yeah, let us know if there's anything wrong with the audio. Looks like it's working okay. Just want to make sure you guys can hear us and it's not like a lot of fuzz like that one time.
Audio sounds good.
Okay,
It says.
cool. We are here with probably one of the most fun parts of our job, and that's to unbox final products for the first time. And glad you guys could join us with it. We have pretty much everything from the Hour of Need Kickstarter here to unbox for you and show you all the goodies inside. I think we'll probably just go product by product. If you guys have requests as we're doing this, we'll go ahead and show certain components up close. We have an overhead camera here, so hopefully this will help us get a better view. I'm going to go ahead and switch to that now so we can get started.
Start the core game. Nice.
All right,
This is
so
a thicker box than the others. Not quite twice as deep, but it's a bit thicker. It's got more contents in there. And I'll show you why inside, because we had to make a few
look at this.
changes. Oh yeah, let's crack the. There's a spot here you can start with. Oops. I knew I'd bump it eventually. All right. How many sleeves? You can keep track of that if you want while I'm opening this, because I know each of these boxes has 104.
We had that.
cards.
We had that. I think as an FAQ somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if Scotty's there. If he has that handy, if you could post it.
So there's 104 in 3 of the boxes, standard size cards, and each box has 20 small cards. And this is the core game. This one has 212 cards. So that is a math. That'll be on the test, everybody. All right, so here is the core game, Hour of Need. So we have the rule book, which will be replicated in each product because each product stands as a standalone game. But certain things will change, like the component can't.
You can
breaks
move
and-
the box out of the way. You can set this down here so they can see it.
It's kind of dark, but very nice rule book. Scotty's looking for the card count, but yeah, I know it was 104 times 3 plus 212, and then each box has. I'm gonna make sure. 20. Yeah, 20 small cards. So 2, 4, 6, 80 small card sleeves.
So a nice comprehensive rule book.
And these are cool.
This
every product has, or every game, either a core game or standalone expansions, has issue guides. So every issue you play will have some narrative.
So for example, this is Century Heist. This is the one that was like the demo issue that we had on the campaign, so people saw the playthrough for it. But this is kind of like gives you the setup and flavor for what's going on. And then there's also these cues that say, there's a clue that says the manufactured hysteria scheme card is resolved. When that happens, you can read this narrative to see what happens. And there's one for each issue in the base game.
If there's any complex issues with tokens, instead of putting those on cards and making them very cumbersome, they're now just in this little reference book. So it's easier
like
to see.
special rules and clarifications right here. And then there's a nice little breakdown of the backgrounds for all the characters in the game. So there's
the main characters.
Majesty and Stride, Gorilla, Micro Guy, Dowager, Curtains, and then some art from the expansion. So this is kind of give you more information about the setting and also give some narrative to your issues.
Also in the core game, there are 2 double-sided issue boards, which came out very, very nice.
Yes, these are very nice boards. So these are even nicer than our Street Masters boards because these are wrapped boards and they're double-sided. So you got
And we mentioned
an
that
issue on each
because
side.
while our Street Masters boards are nice, the fact that these fold and they store it folded, we just thought it was important to make them wrapped like a game board, just to reinforce them a little bit.
They are very nice. If you have Alter Quest, it's pretty much the same as our Alter Quest board material.
The library. And the cool thing about this game, we've mentioned before, anybody who's watched the videos about this before, there's a lot of different scales going on. The library and the lab are both pretty much normal, like tactical maps, but then you have areas like the docks that's kind of zoomed out, this whole docks region. So you can it's like the heroes are jumping around the docks, you know, sneaking around. And then over here, it's even more zoomed out. You have to cover the entire city because there's a big heist going on, and you're trying to manage all these different aspects across the city. So the game works very well with the abstracted scales like that. And then we have punch board. Got damage and justice, different denominations. We have a bunch of character tokens.
Don't slam stuff.
Oh yeah, our bystanders, our minions, action tokens for everybody, and there's enough components here for 6 players. Even though you'd have to have an expansion to play 6 players, you have enough components.
You have enough tokens.
Yeah. And then we got more justice. We got some hidden tokens, and these are all the issue tokens that are used for just different effects during issues. And then focus, obviously. All right, so that is our flat stuff, essentially. We'll move those out of the way, and then we'll make some room for this cool insert here. So we'll spend a little time on this before we dig into the miniatures and cards. We want to show this off. This was something we designed. This is what kind of held up a little bit in production. So underneath the miniatures tray, we have this cool token tray. So this will just be used to store all your tokens, and this should be plenty of room to put all of your tokens from all.
Yeah,
the
we actually tested it with an early sample, and I think we got every token from all the boxes in those components. I believe we got them everything in there.
Yeah. So now you have a convenient way to pop off your figures, and you can just take this out and have your token tray next to the board if you need to, whatever you want to do with it.
Same with the card tray.
Yep, the card tray pops out as well. And the card tray, you should have also plenty of room in the card.
It's like a MTS. It's a modular tray system.
Yeah. So you have your dividers. Got some hero cards. There's Micro Guy and Majesty. Got turn cards and some issue cards. And then the rest, looks like we got Dowager, some villain cards, some more issue cards. So there's all the 212 cards included. And we got some dice. Every game will have 5 dice. And then you got some base rings for all your lackeys. And you got your awesome silica packet.
Collect them.
Yeah.
Collect them all. And then let's see if we can get some little look at the miniatures here. I think the lighting is a little bad since this overhead is not pointing at the lights.
Would my phone light help at all? I don't know.
It's a weird lighting.
Can't get a good angle with it.
I got to hold it still for like a second so it can focus. The miniatures look pretty good. I'm impressed with it. If you have gotten any of our recent miniatures for like Alter Quest, I think Alter Quest these are on par with that. These are very nice. Let me see if I can pull out another one real quick. This is Snare. Is that his name, right? Snare. The Trapper.
That's Snare.
He's a nemesis. Looking good.
All right, so that is the base game, and we can
Let's put it back together.
set that aside.
Otherwise, we're gonna lose space. Give me that cool silica packet.
Oops. Make sure those cards are going the right way there.
I think the camera will have to refocus again because of the miniatures.
And then also, I don't know if you've noticed, but we have the mat, the neoprene mat here, the game mat. It's gonna have to focus a minute. Focus.
Yeah, sorry about the camera focus.
Yeah, I think we showed this off in another video, but yeah, this is the cool hero mat. All right, so next we'll do how about judge and jury? Rip that open. Yeah, Majesty's kind of your bread and butter hero. She can do a little bit of everything. All right, so we got judge and jury. This is the first of the standalone expansions. This is like essentially a 2-player box. Same thing. Got the rule book, and it's mentioned before.
The rule book is mostly the same.
Yeah.
You'll notice that the stuff called out, like that's an issue from that book.
Component counts. And
The
stuff
component
all
counts are
updated.
different, but the rules themselves are the same. So
Here's one of my favorite characters that we didn't get that miniature for. Hopefully in the future we can. This is Restraint. She's
yeah, we should mention there was a ton planned for this game that unfortunately was not unlocked in the Kickstarter, and you'll see that with the very what is this right here? I can't reach it.
yes, the
It's a very humble stretch goal box.
cute.
So it's like a tuck
Charming.
box.
All right, so we got most of the same punch. This is just a little reduced in the count because you only need enough for 2 players essentially. But you have your characters. These are like issue-specific characters, and you got the same minions and bystanders.
Yeah, so
and
if
all
you
the
get the
symbols
core
and-
game, you probably don't need most of these tokens unless
Yeah.
you are taking tons of damage. I think the base game has plenty of damage
Yeah,
tokens.
the most you would need from this to combine with the core game is just like the specific ones, like the characters.
Action tokens.
Then you got one double-sided board here for issues. You got the campaign trail. I like how every single issue has a little tag down here for what the name, but it's got a little logo.
It matches the card back too for that issue.
And then there is visiting hours. This is the insane asylum where Restraint hangs out. Those are a couple really fun issues, by the way. We got dice. So this tray is a little different because it's a little smaller. So the cool thing about this is
this is actually another thing we're working on, which kind of caused a slight delay with the VAC design. Was we wanted to make sure the card dividers would fit. So this is, I'm not sure you can see this lighting. We should put a light behind us. But there's an angle to this, so the cards sit at an angle instead of sitting straight up.
The reason being we didn't want to increase the depth of these boxes because the core game was deeper for the content and the stuff you have sitting on top, but we wanted to make sure these boxes, the cards could fit with the smaller box size because I like this box size. It's nice and compact. So this keeping your cards at a bit of an angle will keep them from bending or anything, and everything can sit on top of them flush.
But I think there's room, right, for all the cards and all the expansions to go in the base game.
Yeah, you can
use the sleeves.
you can combine everything. Yeah.
So you don't even necessarily need these card trays.
I'll double check because I haven't tried with the final stuff. But when I got the sample stuff, I had everything in the core box. But I'll double check that. I'll combine everything in the core box just so I can verify that. But pretty confident. And you got your miniatures here. Not sure how well you can see them in here, but you got Judge. If you want to show any of them off, Jury.
I'd probably show off the henchman.
One-liner.
Yeah, you can see the detail on that pretty good.
Yeah, I wish we unlocked more too. We had a lot of cool characters planned. Hoping we can get to them someday. We'll see how people like the game, and hopefully we have an excuse to make some more of this in the future because there's a lot we could have done.
It's a fun game.
I keep hitting that stupid stand. All right, so that is Judge and Jury. I'll go play that later, and then we'll do, I guess, Define and Wrong.
No,
No.
the Gemini's.
Gemini's
Yep.
here.
I don't know why, but I like this one.
This has got the best cover art, that's for sure. Not because of these two stooges, just because I love the colors used and cool character pieces. This is
clearly a more cosmic feel expansion. So the issue guide the issues in this one are a little more out of this world. We got the Burning Heart and the Shattered World.
Probably, right? Yeah. Burning Heart's probably the one issue that I was most proud of. It works. I think Ryan's in the chat. Ryan helped a lot with helping get that one going because I had a lot of trouble playtesting it.
And again,
Ryan really helped out.
These you can tell we put a lot of thought into writing up some backstories for these characters, so people that
there's Complexity 3. I forgot. Not an issue, but
of course Jim is Complexity 3, and then Astasia is on the back. Yeah, and then again another rule book.
Very nice. Rule
so
book.
if you have plenty of rule books to pass around the table if you have multiple people playing.
So this one, there's some Grail agents here. These are for Shattered World. And then you have Crest from Shadow World also, and then here is Solar Pain.
David, I think you mean there's up to 6 players. So.
Yes. And then 3.
As far as availability, we won't know much about the availability for products until after Kickstarter fulfillment. But we do hope to reprint it regardless. So that's our hope. So we'll see how fulfillment does and how it's received, and if the demand is there, we definitely want to make more available.
There's Shattered World. This is the remnants of Jim's planet, Mathora, and then this is actually Isis planet. I forgot. This is Isis home planet, Exen. So these are actually both Jim and Isis home planets. I didn't even think about that really.
How'd you forget that? Even I knew that. I don't.
Well, it's weird because I got caught up in the actual storylines and I forgot they were actually from there. All right, so then we have the cards, the dice, the clues, and the face rings for the shard eaters, the lackeys in here, Astasia's lackeys.
Yeah, we need to pull those trays out, but let's see the miniatures. Gemini, Astasia is in her warthogs. Shard Eaters, is that what they're called?
Yeah, Shard Eaters. Those. If we ever get to do the campaign expansion, then that'll explain what those things do. All right.
And that one was Gemini, so that's the other 2-player expansion.
Then we had the add-on. This was the exclusive add-on. Was that the free one, or was that for the?
There was a bundle.
Bundle, yeah, it was bundled up. So
I think that was the Kickstarter exclusive one.
All right, so we got Divine Law here, which has Belt and Wyvern, and then the Terrorist, who's an awesome villain. Her deck is crazy.
This one is the martial arts themed expansion. It's perfect for people who like Street Masters. These issues. Hopefully nobody's going to be pausing this and spoiling all the story, but yep, make a note of that. And then Belt, Wyvern, and Terrorist. Alright, that's Divine Law issue guide. And then this is the board for the issues in this one. We have Sign Below. That one looks nice. Very mystical. And then we have Twisted, I forget the Twisted Myths, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Twisted Myths. Again, those of you who are familiar with Street Masters probably find these looking familiar. They look along those lines.
All right, and you already showed these off, or? I don't know how well they're showing off. Those miniatures are freaking cool, though.
Yeah, these are some of the cooler miniatures. I think they got the assassin, and the Terrorist looks awesome. She's probably one of my favorite sculpts in this one. She looks really cool. And then again, like every other, all the other 2-player expansions, this one has dice, base rings, clue cards. Everything you need. These, correct me if I'm wrong, but these clue cards were all the same, right?
Yeah.
So
you only need one set.
You only need one set. And then
If you could technically combine multiple sets if you wanted to avoid ever shuffling, but you're just messing with the what do you call it? The distribution. Of which cards are in there. So. All right, so that is Divine Law. Now we got some little boxes, little cute boxes. That's. I guess we'll go ahead and do the stretch goals or add-ons?
let's just do the stretch goals.
Stretch goals one. All right, so we got the stretch goal box here.
I pre-cut that one.
This one. Open this up at the bottom here. All right, so our stretch goal box. It's nice and compact here.
I'm not sure what you mean by a larger scale. I mean these are typical 28 millimeter. 32 millimeter scale.
Yeah, I don't know if you like bigger monster miniatures, but yeah, this was more.
Probably not going to do any of these at a different scale, no.
So the main 2 decks you found in the stretch goal box is Acrid, who's a villain, and Fault, who's a new hero. So there's their cards, Fault and Acrid. And then these are really cool because we have Acrid is this gross, disgusting, like biological themed villain, and he has these slimy biofiend lackeys, the translucent ones. These are pretty cool. So those are nice. And then we also have another translucent mini in here, which we love. We have Curtains. There's 5 copies of Curtains. So this was actually
4.
Oh, sorry, yeah, 4. I meant 4. So every villain has unique perils in their decks, and Curtains has these illusions of himself. So you can replace the peril tokens, which are just a generic token in the game, with these cool versions. There's also a card that makes these things modular, where you can socket in these decoys into any of your games, and it's kind of treating like it's kind of thematically making Curtains work as a mini villain for whichever villain you're fighting. And we also have a mini version of Loxley, and there's also a Nemesis card in here for him. So he's actually a character that appears in the Sentry Heist as a lockpicker. Go figure. So you can swap out his token for his miniature if you wanted. And then we have this ally here. Good old Time Frame, which he would have had another issue appear in the stretch goals if we got that far. But yeah, right now it's here just as ally version. He's the first ally we made. Those are all our stretch goals.
Oh yeah, it's unlikely we would do that with these, because that would basically require a whole new mold to do like a double size miniature. And we don't typically make just miniatures. We usually make miniatures for games. So that's probably not something we have planned. But again, we never say never. But
All right, then we had our cool little add-on here. This was the bystander and minion upgrade pack. So minions are tokens in the game that they occupy scheme panels. They act like a negative currency essentially. So now you can kind of
I cut that one back then. Oh yeah, it's back there.
Oh, there it is. So now you can upgrade those tokens to miniatures with this pack. But that's not all. There's also more gameplay stuff in here too, which is cool. So we have all the miniatures. So there are 4 unique sculpts here. So we have one type of minion, and then
I'll go ahead and bust these out.
2 types of bystanders. So the cool thing that we added in these cards here. So every different sculpt type is not just aesthetically different. We also made effects for them.
You could play the game where you just swap out the tokens of the minions with these miniatures just to have them. But if you want special rules for them, for example, that we have the bruiser and the operative, and those are basically make those like special minions. We also have special, not civilians, they're bystanders. Bystanders. It's like we have a fierce citizen and a fleeing citizen. So these kind of change it up. You can use these miniatures just to replace the tokens if you want, but we also have it so you can change the rules up too if you want to make it a little more complex.
And there's all the rules and setup are on the card themselves. There's nothing really special that gets added besides there's a small mention in the rule book about how to implement these, but everything else is just on the card, so they're very easy to add to your games if you want to just add a little more complexity and a little more challenge, because they require you to do a little more hand holding essentially throughout the game. Yeah, I really wanted Redacted as a hero too. They were awesome.
Do you remember the other redacted villain we had? Oh, that one was cool.
No, I don't remember that one.
It was right after redacted.
I didn't like them as much as Redacted. We got Redemption. We were known for doing Redemption, which turns these nefarious villains into heroes. So this one makes some of the core villains, Curtains and Dowager from the base game, and then One-Liner from...
This is something that we always have to cave to our backers to do. Is make the bad guys playable.
I never really want to, but in comics it's like
it makes sense in comics.
So yeah, we have this little tuck box here with a nice little insert, 3 miniatures, so you get extra minis in case you want to play the hero One-Liners fighting the villainous One-Liner in some kind of weird doppelganger fight.
Well, it's One-Liner versus Punchline. Let's see who wins.
Yeah. And then there's all the cards, and then this is another thing that's cool is Curtains comes with these tokens for his deck, so his deck plays with these tokens. You can swap these out for those cool translucent minis I told you about earlier. So multi-purpose minis, but I'm not going to punch these out because I hate this thing flopping around too much. This one also has a little cool token thing for the tokens that sit under the cards. It's handy. And that is our redemption box.
Got one more box.
And then this was a little gift we did because I think around the time we were doing Thanksgiving
it was Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving was around that same time we did the Kickstarter. So this one is actually my daughter's always wanted to be more. She got featured in some art in I think it was the Aftershock one of the stages or something. But she was always wanted to make a character she could play as. So I promised her I'd make her one, and she loves.
And she did help playtest quite a bit. So she kind of
she was my main playtester. I remember taking her to Grand Con. This is my shirt I'm wearing. It's Grand Con, and I took her to Grand Con with this prototype, and we played with Emerson Matsuchi. And she was really helpful to the playtesting experience.
Now my daughter did not help playtest, so I only made her an ally. But she's the bystander, a special bystander.
Yeah, so she follows the same kind of rules as the other unique bystanders. So this is actually cool. It's an extra loss condition. So if Annabelle ever gets defeated, you lose. And the story about that is Jade Kid is this kind of alien. And her story is explained a little bit throughout some of the stages, or the issues, but it'll be explained more if we do more products. But Annabelle's like her childhood friend, because she lives a childhood life, even though she's an ancient alien.
Yeah, and maybe if my daughter starts helping playtest, maybe she might turn into a superhero in the future. We'll see. But those who might not have seen, I think we showed some of these cards in the earlier samples. but some people might be interested in seeing how some of the cards look. There's a lot of art in this game. A lot of cool comic book art. She's blasting some ooze there.
The Biofiends.
She's with Jim and
she's lecturing.
Majesty. So many names bounce around my head. Lots of cool art. And then Annabelle holding the teddy bear. Of course, and also every card, every character type or whatever has their own unique back, so you can kind of tell them apart very easily. They have their own card divider. Yeah, so if there were any cards that anybody was like dying to see, I think we showed some off, but we can show some more if you want to see those while we're here. We can also answer any questions people might have, like usual. Just chat a little bit. We got a little bit of time, so. Scotty wants to see some cards.
He hasn't learned the whole child labor thing.
What's
it
that?
really works. He said he's throwing shade at you, not.
Hey, she needs to have some kind of interest in what I do to be.
Yeah, Riley takes a little too much interest in this kind of stuff. She's always, every time I get a new game, she's like dying to play it before I learn the rules. So it's
my daughter likes the idea of it, but then she wants to go play on her iPads. So yeah, let's see. So some cards. I guess we'll just do the.
Someone wants to know how Acrid works. You grab the stretch goal box.
Whip out that. I don't know. I can't pick up the stretch goal box. It's too big.
So I really like Acrid too. So a lot of the villains, I might have gotten a little too clever with some of their decks because we only had a few that unlocked, obviously, so we didn't have as much content I was hoping for. So I tried to pack a lot of variety into these ones that we released. But I'll grab Acrid's deck real quick to show him off. He's a sludgy, creepy dude. I think his name was Rupert Dane. Was the guy's name? The scientist who turned into Acrid.
I don't know. The stretch goals didn't get an issue guide, so
no, because honestly, these will hopefully be featured.
No, I'm just saying that I can't verify it for you because it's in your notes.
Yeah,
it's not in print.
So yeah, I'll show some. You can show some cards off. There's Fault. Here's Time Frame.
Yeah, this Fault is the stretch goal hero. And again, every hero has a normal side and a focused side. Focused side does usually something pretty cool. Look at this. Lots of muscles on this girl. Saving a kid and a puppy. Rock slide. Leaps and bounds.
So here's this is the card I was mentioning. So Crisis cards are a cool addition to the game. This was just happened to be the first Crisis we introduced. So I mentioned before, these perils can work with Curtain's deck just to upgrade the tokens to be sculpts, but also there's a mechanical way to socket in Curtains into any game by using this. So these Crisis cards just go into the issue play area and they just modularly play off of whatever issue you're playing. So whenever a Crisis effect would happen, something would escalate with whatever Crisis card you have in play. So there's a lot of cool stuff we had planned for all of the perils in the game and making Crisis cards out of them. So if we do more content, you can look forward to that, having more modular options to the game. So yeah, here we have Acrid. Oh, also I should show off the Loxley Nemesis card. This is another way you can just customize your game. It also works for player scaling. If you're playing beyond 4 player, for every player beyond that, they have to add a Nemesis to the game, so you can add Loxley as one of your Nemesis now.
Someone was asking if Fault was kind of like Hulk.
We
typically take inspiration from lots of different characters we like or whatever. I think it's kind of like a mix between Hulk and the Thing.
Yeah, she doesn't like really Hulk out, she doesn't like transform, but she can draws upon energy from the earth, and she has like Hulk-like strength, but she's not like a berserker type. What do you call that? Like the Jekyll and Hyde archetype, it's not really that. It's more just she has a lot of power, so a lot of natural strength. So Acrid has a cool effect. Over here, it'll explain whenever he mutates, reveal the top card of the villain deck, and if the revealed card has a mutate effect, you attach it to a lackey card with the fewest villain cards attached. So all of Acrid's cards might have these mutate effects, and they just give Biofiends different abilities. So the idea being is a lot of times you might ignore lackeys because they just move around the board, and if they're not taking too many bystanders or hurting you too much, you might ignore them. But you can't really ignore Biofiends because they become like these buffed up, they start mutating and developing appendages and stuff. So it's really risky to let them hang out too long. And also
constant suffering.
his lackeys are just, and plus like they spawn more often. So if lackeys aren't in play, he'll constantly make new ones. So, and then he also has his peril, which like I explained before, these are Curtin's perils. His peril are these acrid vats, and these things can just make more biofiends. So he's super gross. He's super annoying. He's a tough villain, but luckily he doesn't have a ton of health. So once you can find him and reveal him, if you can just pound on him real quick. I don't think his showdown effects are as bad as other villains are. But yeah, his lackeys are what really suck. But those sculpts are awesome though.
Cool. Any other thing you want to see before we flip this around? I think we kind of showed off. We don't have anything that we showed the neoprene mat. Got all the stretch goal stuff. Yeah. Kind of flew through that stuff. All right. All right, so we're back up here. So yes, this is all of the stuff from Hour of Need, and we are super excited about getting this delivered to backers. I would say this is the pinnacle of the modular deck system as far as games go.
Especially as far as modularity goes, because this is by far the most modular game we've made.
Yeah, we can show off some Gemini's cards before we sign off. Let me go ahead and flip this around. I think I did a combo thing here. So yeah, let's move these blocking the light. You can set those down. They're blocking the light.
Oh, whoops. Ugh. I don't have my knife with me.
Let's see who can open them faster.
It's not going to be me.
Got mine open. All right. Oh, I hate static. So we have the coolest hero in the game right here, Ice. Ice is interesting because he's from Earth, and he I wrote the backstory for this, but I totally forget. But he somehow landed in Exen, the planet, and it's like a frozen planet with a harsh environment that humans couldn't survive in. So he basically adapted this frozen energy, like in coming out of his body or whatever. But he basically had to get this special gear to help him harness it, and so he can kind of use his visor and his bracers and stuff to like shoot frozen beams, frozen energy. Kind of like a mix between Cyclops and Iceman, I would say. But he looks cool, and that's all that matters. So
someone asked.
So is
there lore for Fault in the rule book? What's the story behind her? That again, Fault will hopefully do. There was no like room for the book in that box, but we'll hopefully have full lore for most of the characters in like I said, it all depends on if we can do more products for this line, because we had a lot of stuff planned to consolidate some of these characters in because these boxes allow us to kind of go more in depth with the characters and the biographies and stuff. But if worst case scenario, we might put it online or something, but we do have lore for them.
So yeah, Ice is all about equipment. So you can't not play equipment cards normally, but certain effects will let him play equipment cards, and they have effects that make him better. Obviously, he has like his Haifa Frex visor, his Cryomag bracers, fusion energy belt, and then he's got stuff like Flash Freeze, Cold and Calculated. He's kind of like a born leader, trained commander.
Are there any plans for this to return to Kickstarter? We hope so, in some form. We'd love to either do more content or just a reprint campaign or something if there's enough desire for it.
Cold Snap. And then we have the lesser of the heroes in the box is Jim. Jim is kind of like a mix between. We're gonna do this a lot when we talk about these heroes, but I look at him as a mix between like Green Lantern and Vision. Unless you have other thoughts of.
Yeah, it's mostly inspired by like because there's Green Lantern touch because his Trinity tokens do they kind of have that whole construct vibe, but it's mostly just cosmic power. Someone asked here, where did it go? How large are the card wells in the base game? Can they all? I'm
pretty sure
that.
all the cards will fit if they're not sleeved. I'm not sure about sleeve that because I know the sleeve cards will fit in the trays, but I'm not sure how much space all the cards take up.
Yeah, with the cards and the dividers, I'd say I'll double check that. We'll put pictures on the Facebook group or something because I'll be consolidating it, I'm sure. But yeah, we'll double check on that.
Yeah, I'm glad Super Sight gets it. Iceman Cyclops is a beautiful combination. And this is Astasia. This is the villain in the Gemini's box. It's got a Shard Eaters, and she has the Dark Rifts as apparel. And then all those.
There's the rest of her.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say this card deck looks like it's lacking here, but there it is.
This was
and this is one of the only games that has special setup for decks where if you're playing with solo or 5 and 6 players, you modify the decks slightly.
You just remove cards, yeah. On one of the issues here, I'll mention too. This is one of my favorite issues we designed. This one I had to spend a lot of time with Ryan, who's in the chat here, playtesting because couldn't get it right. Because this entire issue revolves around this character Solar Pain, and she is also sort of like this cosmic hero, but she loses her husband to some cataclysmic event, and she goes so crazy in her grief that she becomes like this villain, this like all powerful villain. So every scheme card is essentially trying to either talk her down, control her power, essentially, but she's pretty much trying to melt the entire planet of Exons. It's pretty cool issue.
Yeah, so anybody who's not familiar with the game, there are all these schemes out, and then when you solve a scheme, you flip it over, and sometimes there's something that happens.
Always there's something that happens.
I mean, something that stays in play, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Just changes the game up, kind of furthers the story that you're playing.
Do you mean mean again? You think you're throwing shade again? What did I miss?
About what?
I don't know. You apparently.
Oh, I said your hero is lesser of the two.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
it's
sure.
He accepts that.
I usually play the sidekicks.
I
mean, Jim is just like the all powerful protector of the entire astrology, but whatever.
Any possibility?
But your guy has sunglasses.
Yeah, he has he has cool gear. I mean, he looks cool.
Will there be streamlined? What do we got here? So will this be more streamlined than Stream Masters? Similar complexity to Contra? It is much more leaning toward the Contra. Contra, I think, is maybe a little more accessible because it was meant to be sort of a mass market style game. This one is a little more. I don't know. It's a little more.
It's deeper than Contra.
Yeah, I think there's a little more complex because of the modularity. I think it adds enough complexity where it's a little more than Contra. Maybe Scott.
I actually think it might play. I don't know if it plays faster than Contra, but
yeah, it definitely does. Because
I mean, like I'm talking about turn wise. I think Contra turns are quick, but the game goes longer. I think there's more to do in your turn an hour of need, but the game still goes quickly.
Yeah, you do have a lot more. You probably have more options in this than in Contra. There's more because you're doing both attacking things and solving things, so it's kind of like two different mindsets. It
always feels like our opinion is jaded or skewed because we've gone through so many different versions of different things. And
I think both Contra and Irony are both closer to the same playtime, but I can never overstate how fast this plays because when we play tested a 6-player game with all new players and they played under 2 hours, I was pretty impressed. So, what do we got?
Judge and jury cards.
Phoenix,
Want to put these cards away real quick?
Oh yeah.
We can show off some judge and jury while we're talking.
I'd say just a notch above Contra. Yeah, I'd agree. It's still much more streamlined.
The cool thing about this game, I mean, there's lots of cool things about it, but one of my favorite things are how the issues play. Like, they feel like you're playing through this little story. It's not just like, oh, fight the boss and kill the boss, which is cool. It's like Street Masters is fun. You can just fight and beat up the boss. But this one feels like you're kind of going through a little
you have actual
narrative.
progression, it feels like, because you're on a fixed timer and there's these events that happen that you kind of have to stay on top of.
There.
Any secret hit games hidden on the sides of the box this time? I don't think so. think these are all.
I think everything we have on these boxes is announced.
Because I mean, a lot of them reference other Our Food products.
Yeah, we were discussing maybe like throwing on like a Myth and Goal or something logo, like that's a tease, but I feel like we didn't have enough at ready at the time. So.
Oh man, this was another sad reminder of where to go. This is one of the characters I was really hoping we could unlock. General Domain. He was one of my favorite villains.
What was the one that Mr. Meaner? Was that the one?
He's in. Yeah, he appears in as a character in Volume 36.
That one was for Justin, right?
I was sad though because my son is obsessed with trains, and we had this villain, Rail Baron. His art was awesome.
But he's not revealed, right?
He wasn't revealed.
Well, he just spoiled it now.
Yeah, well, now we got to unlock him, guys.
All right, judge and jury. This is why Brady's not allowed to talk much on live streams. So we have basically the equivalent of Batman and Robin. I think that's kind of obvious that it's inspired by,
it's
Cape Crusaders.
It's Night Thrasher and Spoiler. Duh. It's Night Thrasher and Spoiler.
So Judge is all about, is really good at solving. She's, like a detective. Burden of proof. Really gotta fix my lighting setup in this place. Collecting evidence.
So you figured, like 3 lights pointing.
Exhibit A. Well, I don't never think about putting lights behind us because we don't usually do this camera angle. Wise counsel. I think it would flesh it out too much, or wash it out too much. I mean, witness protection. She's really good. Then there's Jury, who is really focused on saving bystanders. She's a woman of the people.
Yeah, her tagline is the hero of the people.
Can't tell if the woman's screaming or just having a blast.
Just having fun. How much was designed for the first campaign that we didn't see? Well, designed is a broad term because we had art and we had concepts for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we typically don't.
We don't dive into the
goals.
actual content development design aspect until things are for sure.
And this is a good reason why, because we would have so much wasted work.
But also it's easier and motivating in a Kickstarter to hit that stuff as it's happening and kind of get your ideas while they're fresh, while that stuff's getting unlocked. So a lot of that stuff happens behind the scenes. That's why our Kickstarters are hectic times for everyone in the company.
It's always cool to get backers, chatting and get input about things. And, we get ideas from people and we might want to incorporate those into our designs. So there's lots of reasons why we don't go too far into designing stretch goals before they're unlocked. So that's Jury. She's fun. And then there's, formerly known as Punchline, we have One-Liner.
Hey, you might get sued. Stop that.
One-Liner. Villain. Showdown. All the villains start on their scheming side, so you gotta solve a bunch of stuff and reveal them, and then bam, then you can fight them. Hired gun. Heckler. Then on point. Reloaded. Staggering hook. Offensive material. And knock knock. And that's another thing too that this game I think really shines on is the villain turn. It's usually lightning fast, as opposed to our previous MDS games, which got bogged down as the game went on.
I think one of the best parts too is the combat is so integrated into the hero's turn. So when you attack a villain, you draw a card and see how they respond. They could attack you first. They could flee afterward. They could mess up. They could change your dice results. So it makes it a little unpredictable, but it also kind of combines when the enemy would actually do anything. And it also, villains will normally just move and attack you as well. You're always getting that static damage anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this reloaded card, for example, if you attacked, I guess keep saying Punchline. If you attacked One-Liner on the showdown, if you gave One-Liner a punchline, she's going to immediately inflict. Then after this attack, you must discard one focus, or One-Liner inflicts again. So you kind of have to have focus ready on that one. Staggering hook. Play this card in your threat area. It gains the following effect. After you perform an action, discard. After you perform an action other than this one, this card deals you 2 damage. You spend an action to discard the card. So basically, you have your guard down. You have to focus on her, otherwise she's going to punch you in the face.
So someone asked, so the stretch goal curtains minis can be added to different missions for an additional challenge. Yeah, so that crisis card that came with the stretch goal box, it's called a crisis card. And anytime you're setting up any game, you can add that crisis card to the issue play area, and it has an effect that'll escalate whenever a crisis happens. If you don't get rid of those of curtains illusions, it'll just make the game harder, and there's a possible loss condition in there as well. So it adds another layer of complexity and difficulty. And the idea being is we had a lot of stretch goals planned where they'd add just these crisis cards where you can just modulate the game however you want. But that, yeah, so you can use it like 3 different ways. You can use it for just an aesthetic upgrade to make your curtains deck look cooler when you're playing curtains as a villain. You can use it for the hero deck when you're playing as curtains if you want to have cooler things than as shadow tokens. And you can also use it modularly during, just have curtains help out any villain you're playing against.
This game is a really cool box size, by the way, if those who haven't noticed.
Awesome.
It's like shaped like kind of like a comic book. But this box, our graphic designer had to redo the template multiple times during production because it kept getting thicker than we planned. So it's a pretty thick box. Got a lot of stuff in there. It's a very cool product model. I don't know if we'll do this again where we have a 4-player core set and then all these 2-player
Yeah, I want to see what people think about it because I love it from just from a concept standpoint. Because I love games like Unmatched where you just buy a box and you can play it.
It's cool, but it makes us have to repeat a lot of content, especially like a rule book. We have to print a whole new rule book every time. Put dice in there and stuff like that. You'll have plenty of dice sets in this one. So this is probably our one MDS game that would probably sell the least number of dice packs if you get everything because you're going to have so many dice just from the expansions alone. So that is a benefit.
So yeah, we get asked a lot about Brook City. Nothing official yet, but we do always talk about internally how to revisit Brook City. And when we started doing this, it gave us so many ideas about what we should have done with Brook City. Yeah. So there's concepts rolling around, and
I feel like Brook City was an experiment that we didn't get to take as far as we wanted to take it.
We didn't have a super wide playtester net, which would have helped because we have access to much more.
We weren't full time.
Yeah, we weren't full time. So I think we could have done a lot of different things with it that we started doing with this. So, retroactively look back, this would have been cool if they implemented this with this. So we always have ideas for it. It's just a matter of when we can fit into the schedule because we have so many stuff, so many things, so many stuffs.
Many people play Alter Quest.
Yeah, the standalone model, I'm glad some people appreciate it because I really liked the idea of it when we were mapping it out, and I think it came out really awesome because I just imagine, if you go to like Barnes and Noble and you see a few boxes of these, and you have these different themes, it's like, oh wow, I could just buy any of these and start and try out a 2-player game and see what I think. And I think what was the retail price? Like something like 40?
I don't even remember. I don't want to say because
I don't want to say 30, but I was thinking like it was closer to that because it's we try to keep the content in a reasonable price point, even though you're getting premium materials. I mean, this production's nuts on these things. Everything looks amazing. I'm really impressed with it.
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of people that know about us that didn't back this one, I think there's a lot of people who missed out that might want it later. So even if we did something like a reprint, offered like a reprint campaign or something, I feel like it would do pretty well and get more of it out there for people to get more input about what people like, what people don't like. Because this is definitely where we want to take MDS. Like this is a good example of what we wanted out of the MDS system. So the MDS system is redundant, but yeah,
it's an ATM
the modular
machine.
deck system.
It's an ATM machine.
So yeah, we're very excited about this and can't wait to get it in backers' hands and get people's feedback about what they like and don't like about it. Yes, we are getting a bucket of dice, that's for sure. And I think the only drawback to this is the fact that there's not like one entry point that you can point people towards. So it's more of a decision for the customer, like, oh, which one should I get? There's too many choices. I want them all. I'm not going to buy any of them. There is that kind of mentality you have to keep in mind. When you have a game like Street Masters or whatever, you just said go get the Street Masters game. There's lots of stuff in there. If you like it, you can get more later. So. Yeah, I think that's all we had to cover today was just our excitement about Hour of Need. We're very excited to get out there. We don't have the details yet for the shipping and all that stuff, but we will definitely post an update on the Kickstarter when we have more details to share. I'm really hoping this whole container shortage situation is being worked out because of COVID and everything. It's been a nightmare. Anybody who is part of the Fantasy Series 1 Kickstarter knows what we've been dealing with, trying to just get containers to get product out of the factory and onto the... But luckily, all that stuff's in progress now. So that one's on its way. Hopefully this one does not deal with that situation. So we will definitely keep you updated when we get all the details from Quartermaster and the factory. So, any idea on delivery for Contra and Mitch's titles is Buddy Cop? Those are both in production. So as far as I know, we're still on track for the summer. I think Scotty is going to chime. Yep, Scotty chimed in. Contra's going to be around August-ish, and I think we're still waiting on final confirmation for Buddy Cop. So that's from Scotty himself. I'm going to take his word on that. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions? Dan, you play Mitch's game on Tabletop Simulator? Yeah, Contra's fun. I'm excited for getting that one out there. It's going to be our first official licensed game from through Blacklist, so it'll be really interesting to see how that one does. Yeah, the container shortage situation is insane. I don't think people realize just how bad it is. It's a mess. Triple the cost to move. It's crazy. Is Contra still pre-orderable? I believe Contra is ending in 3 more days. You have 3 more days to pre-order Contra. And I would suggest, if you're interested in MDS games, I would suggest you get it because Contra is cool. It's a fun little game, plays quick, and very tactical. And plus, it's Contra. I grew up with Contra, so. Sorry, my phone's ringing. My watch is ringing. Current status of the Street Master stuff. So that I'm assuming that's the reprint you're talking about, and the Indiegogo stuff. That's in production still, and I believe it's coming up close to the shipping date. But I'll let Scotty comment for sure if he has hard details for that. Cool. Yeah, I think we got everything. So yeah, if you have not yet, I would suggest you like the video, but also subscribe to the channel. Anytime we do live streams, you'll get a notification. You can join us. We'll probably be doing some playthroughs of Hour of Need very soon. So if you have any recommendations or
requests,
think of the word. Leave a comment. Let us know. Start a poll on the fan page if you want. We'll follow along. We'll play whatever you guys want to see. So, and tomorrow we were gonna do this tomorrow, but tomorrow's our birthday, so we're gonna take the rest of the day to celebrate our birthday early, and go visit our mom tomorrow. So, hope everybody else has a great holiday weekend. Subscribe to the channel, and we will see you soon. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Everyone.